Well, we still have with us Mr. Femi Adesina on the show. He's special advisor to the president on media and publicity. There's some clips that have been played from the House of Representatives there in the National Assembly, and the recent letter sent by President Buhari to the National Assembly, some believe might cause controversy, especially in this political season, asking for INEC, asking, yes, for INEC's budget to be approved, the budget for the 2019 elections, which are coming up very soon. But this time around, the letter was asking that the monies approved initially for some special projects for National Assembly members would have to be transferred to that particular purpose. And some people are wondering, is the presidency, is the executive arm of government looking for trouble?
Not exactly. But when you have an election coming, a major one, like
yes,
Nigeria has next year, it has to be funded. Elections are not cheap. And don't forget, the request was not just for INEC. Security.
The security agencies,
yes, security agencies
yeah,
were also
INEC, I think, is to get 189 billion from that.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. But the issue is that in Nigeria, we are too suspicious. When the $323 million that repatriated into the country, when it was indicated that they will be used for conditional cash transfer, some people say, oh, they want to use it for election. There is money that the government wants to divert into election. Now this has come again. They are saying, oh, they want money for election. The simple truth is that in Nigeria,
no, this is different. I mean, the situation and the circumstances and the issues are different. So we know that the president was unhappy when he was signing the 2018 budget into law, because he said that things had been added into it that were not there. The budget had been increased significantly. The National Assembly claimed, I mean, at least we spoke with some of them, they said that it did it in conjunction with members of the executive. The benchmark price of crude oil was increased, and they figured that the monies, the extras that were there, could have gone into other projects, which they inserted into the projects. They say that some of it was even done in conjunction with some members of the executive. Those were things that we heard. But the president, at the end of the day, was not too happy about, those additions. And he bared his mind. But right now, it would seem that the president is now saying, look, that money that was approved, you will have to sacrifice some of it because we're going to need to fund INEC's budget. And I don't think that it is expedient to increase the size of the budget. But some people will say, isn't that looking for trouble, considering the already, frosty relationship? I'm tired of using that word, but I can't seem to find another one. The already frosty relationship you have with the members of the National Assembly.
There's something you missed out when you gave the background. The president said, yes, he was not happy with the alterations to the budget, and he said he would then send supplementary budgets later. He said it, if you check what he said.
Which some people will assume is an attempt to increase. And supplementary budgets are usually to ask for additional money, not to ask them to transfer monies that have already been approved for certain projects to other things.
The thing about budget is an intention about spending. It's an intention. It does not mean that all those items are automatically funded. There are some, at the end of the day, that may not be funded. That's something we should know about budgeting. It's just an intention to spend.
It's an intention, but it's also the law when it's been signed.
Yes, when it's been signed.
Ideally,
that is why
as much as possible, you should seek to fund those things.
That's why at the end of the year, you also talk about budget performance.
Yes.
And you have 70, 75, 80%. There were years that the budget performed as low as 45% because funding became an issue.
So the point you're trying to make right now is that what? That the president doesn't see the reason to...
No.
Not that he's deliberately trying to... Because I'm doing my best not to read. I wish that we could play the report, of the Senate president reading that particular speech, that particular letter to members of the Senate. I do not want to interpret or read anything into his body language, especially in the manner in which he was reading it. But if you were to look critically about it, some people will say that it didn't look like it was going down well with members of the National Assembly.
Naturally, it may not go down well with them, because when you are already planning that this will come my way, by coming my way, I'm not saying go into your pocket, that I will use this for whatever project, and somebody is asking you, let's divert it this way, naturally it may not go down well with it. But then you spend money that is available at any given time.
Mr. Adesina, I just want to confirm, this 242 billion is coming out of not the zonal intervention projects, the constituency projects, but rather the 573 billion naira that was added after the constituency projects. Is that correct? Or
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Maybe the senior special assistant of the president on National Assembly matters will give you that information. I'm not quite sure.
All right. Now, I want to move on to something that happened yesterday that raised a lot of interest. We hear and saw the reveal, if you will, of the new national carrier set to take off in December, Nigeria Air. We're hearing about 5% ownership stake by government, that is going to be private sector driven, etc. But Nigerians, with the history that we have, are clearly going to ask, is this not going to go the same way of previous projects? Of course, Nigeria Airways, Virgin Nigeria, etc. What are your thoughts this morning, and how does government assuage the concerns of Nigerians who are worried about the past repeating itself?